welcome to Georgia Living Podcast. I'm Celine.
And I'm Chris.
And welcome. It is Tuesday morning, 9:43 a.m.
And we've got a shockingly spooky episode today. From weeping statues to an elevator that opens on a Civil War ward, we're going to talk about the spooky side of Cobb County.
And you actually taught me a few things that I didn't know.
Yeah, so just kind of prepping for this episode, going through and learning some of these stories is a lot of fun for me. So I'm excited to get into it. But before we do, let's talk about what's going on in our community. We got a few headlines that are coming across today. One is a recent case, like a person was identified from a cold case from 1984 here in Cobb.
What?
Yeah, so Cobb County Police identified a 1984 cold case victim as Veronica Jane Miller. She was about 20 years old at the time of her death. She's from Mableton, and they were able to use forensic genealogy to find out who she was.
Wow.
So they were able to tie her DNA to genealogy, find a half-sister, track down that half-sister, and find out, yeah, she was missing.
Did the half-sister know that she was missing?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
obviously they missed and they presumed her dead, but they found the body. They were able to identify this body, and the investigation is still ongoing. But now that we have a victim ID, so they're going to be. It was ruled a homicide, so they're going to keep going with that.
This ties in right to that 1970s case of Debbie, who was taken from a laundromat. On the way home from a laundromat, and we're talking about like maybe a block or something like that.
Yeah.
And they couldn't find her killer. Well, apparently, the killer was a mile down the street from where our house is right now.
Yeah, but living in East Cobb.
Well, no. He had committed suicide 2 years after he had murdered. So this was before I was even born. But apparently, he's buried 2 miles away from our house, which is not anywhere close to where the crime happened either. So, interesting. Cold cases being solved, and they're still at it.
Yeah,
and
this forensic genealogy stuff is pretty cool.
You were even talking to me about police reports at Cobb County, how they don't get rid of them, right?
Well, that's warrants. So one of the things that I learned in the Cobb 101 program is if there's an active warrant anywhere, like for a person that was issued in Cobb County, they have to keep that warrant readily accessible. Because if that person is anywhere in the U.S. and a local authority calls to check on the validity of that warrant, they have to be able to touch the original document within like 15, 20 minutes, something crazy like that, to verify that, yes, they have the warrant is still active. So the only time, so there's like 500,000 warrants just sitting in, a room in the vault of the courthouse in Marietta in the sheriff's department. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. Some other headline news. We've got some updates on the Cobb Veterans Memorial, which is a project in the works to happen over by the Civic Center. And the county commission kept roughly $175 million in SPLOST surplus on the original list. And the foundation cites about $4.1 million are raised and committed overall, with the current projected cost estimated between $6.8 and $7.5 million. And they're working to try and figure out if they could do a phased build path, because there's a lot of tension right now, I guess, between how the funding is going to work, a few of the commissioners, and what they want to see happen versus where the funding is for the Veteran Memorial Project. So interesting to know and follow along with. But speaking of veterans, we had some pretty cool activities this weekend with CAR.
Yeah, so you know that Joanne Burrell has a lot to do with this Cobb Veterans Memorial.
Yeah, she was actually the only person that voted for the funding. This wasn't in the article this morning, but there was an article last week on the MDJ, and she voted in favor of funding it. There were others on the commission that were not in favor, I guess, with the proposed plan. So they're working to try and figure out if they could do a phased build where they come in, start building with the funds that they have now, and then add to that over time. But they want this to be something that is really to honor our veterans. There are a couple of other veteran memorials in Cobb County, and that's kind of one of the points of contention. I think there's one in Smyrna, and there might be another one in Ackworth. So the idea, this is kind of where everything is kind of coming together. You've got some commissioners who are saying, well, the county has an official one already, versus the project and the community that's trying to come together to have this in Marietta. And I think Donna Rowe is heading the memorial project, and just she is an incredible veteran in her own right. So I don't know. We're just going to follow along with it as we get new updates. We're happy to share it with everybody because we want you to know what's going on in your community as well.
And have you seen a sketch of this? The memorial itself?
Yeah, I mean, the renderings are
so cool.
Stunning. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can walk through. It's like an experience when you go into there, and then you have all these different, walls, and then you have the main monument. And I thought it looked really impressive, and I would, yes...
It's needed for the area.
We have other places, but the thing is that Cobb County has such a huge population. Yeah. And to get from one side of the county to the other is almost impossible.
I mean, it could take an hour in rush hour.
It can. I mean, it depends on which streets you're taking and, what path you're on. But, I really feel as though they want to put it in a location which is right by, I believe, the police headquarters right now and the Civic Center, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like that is a pretty good central location in the county.
It is. Well, I mean, Marietta is the seat of the county for a reason. Mm-hmm. It's right there in the center.
Right.
So, I mean, that it makes sense. I'm for it, one, because, I mean, heck, honor the veterans as much as we can. I think it's a great use of our community's efforts. But also, that whole area really needs some investment. And and I think this is one more thing that's going to go towards kind of extending that Marietta Square feel out, making that downtown revitalization project a little bit expanded, helping the property values in the area, giving people something that's walkable. And I mean, this is right by the Civic Center, so these are like very. There's like a brutalist style building right across the street, which is basically all cement. So having some nice landscaping and, a park atmosphere, I think is needed in that area.
It was the fashion of the time.
It was. It definitely was. I mean, it's just not it's my least preferred style of architecture.
Every time you say brutalist, it's with this little tone of disdain for that.
Yeah. If you don't know what brutalist is, just think of any federal building you've ever seen that's basically all cement, or think of
it's it came out of a mold somehow.
Yeah, it's
what was this,
pretty much.
But yeah, we did honor veterans this weekend as well.
Yeah.
So I completed a quilt top for my father, who is a Vietnam veteran, and it is a large quilt top with an eagle on it. It's all red, white, and blue, and we presented it to the Children of the American Revolution chapter on Sunday, and said, hey, let's donate this to him on the CAR's behalf, this chapter's behalf. He's going through chemotherapy for blood disorder. So yeah, I hope he's surprised.
Yeah,
it's at the long
me
armor
too.
right now, so I have no idea how it's going to end up.
Not only that, but you had all the kids make these birthday bags.
Yeah, we did that too.
Yep.
That's a different thing. So, America 250, the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Constitution, is coming up, and that is in 2026. But it's kind of celebrating before as well, leading up to it. And so I had the kids. I just plopped down a giant box filled with stuff, and I said, "Hey, America's birthday is coming up. Figure out something to do, and then you got to figure out who to donate it to afterwards." So they all ended up making birthday bags with like this little 6-inch little Debbie,
Cake
ready to bake
mix
cake with a pan in it. Yeah.
Plate
And then so they all put it together, and we dropped it off at United Military Care, which is down the street off of, oh gosh, what is that road? Roswell and
Old Canton.
Old Canton. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of community service this weekend. I think they liked it though, because
Oh, yeah.
I didn't tell them what to do. They just did it all themselves, and they decided to donate to United Military Care by themselves. So I'm really super proud of them.
I am too. Well, as we're getting closer to fall, we're starting to see some changes in attitude. We're bringing a little bit of the spookiness back.
You brought pumpkin spice into our home.
Pumpkin spice exists in the house, just as a little seasoning. You sprinkle a little on top
I've already had some.
of a cappuccino. It's good. It's good. I am very coffee oriented in the morning. So like we have the mocha pots, and we make all of the coffee. We make espresso and then froth the milk, and so it's a cappuccino every morning. So it's sometimes a little cinnamon, a little pumpkin spice. I don't know. Maybe we'll do some apple spice. I don't know. But
You get creative with it.
yeah, it's fun, and the kids like it too. So, but we're getting to the shifting seasons. Looks like most of this week is going to be under 80 for the high, which is awesome. But with that, we're starting to get into some spooky events. So coming up over the next month to month and a half, first off, Six Flags has their Fright Fest, which is going on starting the 13th. So starting this weekend, Six Flags Fright Fest is going on. Scare zones included. There's going to be some haunted mazes as add-ons. And that runs September 13th through November 2nd.
This is long running.
Yeah.
Have you been to this before? Fright Fest?
As a kid, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
I remember being there in high school thinking, oh God, avoid the characters that are like kind of creeping towards you,
Yeah.
or like limping towards you. I don't know what, mummies or whatever they're dressed up as. It's been a while. But it wasn't peanuts either, it was good back then. So who knows? I haven't been back in a long time.
Right. A lot of counties, it's very few counties can say you have your own theme park. We do. And Fright Fest is going on. So we also have some other events coming up starting September 25th. Downtown Kennesaw is going to start its Scarecrows on Main event. This is where community scarecrows line Main Street. They'll have this going on for free. Businesses can register to do their own scarecrow, and then you can decorate it and have it out there. So check out all the scarecrows. They'll be coming up in a few weeks.
And they're super creative too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people dress them up. And do you even think kids know what scarecrows are for?
No.
They don't farm anymore or anything like that.
I would imagine that they know because it's the name, right? It's it's to scare crows, y'all.
I'm going to try it out tonight. I'm actually going to be like, hey, kids, do you know what a scarecrow is?
Let's record their reaction and see like what they say. That'll be a good test.
Yes, they've seen Wizard of Oz, but they're not the Wizard of Oz generation anymore.
No, they probably don't remember.
No, with this whole, Netflix and rapid consumption of movies and TV shows that are just slapped together,
Oh yeah. One of my favorite events is coming up as well. From Marietta specifically, and that's Chalktoberfest. So this is on Marietta Square. There's going to be 80 plus chalk artists, and the work that they do. So they're going to do chalk murals all throughout the square. You can sponsor, you can have one painted, you can paint one yourself. It's such a cool community event. The festival is free. There's going to be beer and wine tastings that are ticketed, but you can come out and walk the square and check everything out. And that's going to happen October 11th and 12th. We have Life in the Cemetery tours, which is going to take place in the Kennesaw City Cemetery. That's October 23rd through 25th. Starting, and they'll have multiple times. They'll have a 6 o'clock, a 6:45, and a 7:30 run time. Tickets are $15 to $30. Saturday, October 25th is the Kennesaw Grand Prix Nightmare on Main 5K. So the Kennesaw Grand Prix series is it's 4 races throughout the year. I believe this is the last one. It is a Peachtree qualifier. There'll be a fun run and a tot trot as well. That's going to be Saturday, October 25th, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Such a joke that tots actually trot. You know what they really do, right?
They sit in the stroller as the mom pushes them or dad pushes them.
They get really excited.
I've seen them. Some of them trot.
They'll trot for maybe 10 feet and then be like, Mama.
Well, it's not far.
5K is far for those little feet.
No, a tot trot. A tot trot is not a 5K. It's only...
What, 10 feet?
Yeah, it's very small. They I don't know what they do.
All right.
But so they've got that coming up. Same day, October 25th.
William Root House.
Yeah.
Now, I love this place.
This is a cool place.
So it's not... the William Root House is located... right by Marietta Square, and if you go to the city market, it is next door to that. So the food hall.
Yep.
And there are 2 different parking lots, but that is not the original location of the Root House. They moved it there, and it looks like there's grass and everything, but that's actually a parking lot. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's just sitting
grass
in the
on
parking
top
lot.
of the parking lot. Yeah, so it looks like a yard, but it's really cool because if you go into the square, there's actually a Root Street or a Root Road or something like that.
Yep.
One of the side streets, and I think that we were at the Strand the other day, and we looked up and we're like, oh, this must be the same family, because who has the last name Root? Like a vegetable.
Exactly.
Right. So from 5 to 9 p.m., they're going to be having a theme tour, and it changes for really every season that they celebrate. This is a Victorian funeral flashlight tour. They have mourning jewelry. Now, we're not talking about the mourning as in like cock-a-doodle-doo.
Like mourning a death.
MOURNING.
Mourning.
Yeah, because, in the 1800s, they used to take hair and, make sculptures out of it.
Oh, they did. That's right.
Those are
they
the
did
ones
some creepy
that are...
stuff back then.
It's macabre. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was... it's the type of stuff that Ripley's Believe It or Not keeps in their... collections. They're also going to have 1800s embalming artifacts.
Nice.
Wow, right? And quick fact, embalming started in the Civil War because they had to be transported back home in a long distance.
Those train rides took a while back then.
And they thought it was more sanitary to embalm the process, and it was a money-making ploy for these funeral homes, so they continued that whole legend. Mm-hmm. And I guess by tradition, people still get embalmed.
It just still happens. No, burn me.
but that's 8:30
I don't want that.
at p.m. 8:30. So you can get your morning jewelry and then learn about embalming people, and hopefully you don't embalm somebody else.
Yeah. And then on Friday, October 31st, Safe Halloween is happening in Ackworth. There will be a daytime trick-or-treat for kids 12 and under. That event is free.
Oh my gosh, that's already coming up.
It really is.
Ah.
All right, so we've made our way to our feature segment, the 10 most haunted spots in Cobb County. So, I think first off,
Can we switch one or two? Because this is...
Yeah, I think so. Go ahead. Why don't you start us off?
Okay, I am reading this for the first time, so my reactions, it depends on whether I knew this or not already. And being a lifelong Cobb County resident, other than college, I know quite a bit. But there's also, surprisingly, so much that I'm still learning about Marietta and everything around here. It seems like every time I'm like, oh, okay, I learned that. There's just more to uncover. So cool. So first one is going to be Six Flags Over Georgia that we already talked about. This is where the Fright Fest is. That's been long going. It is in Austell or Mableton? I think it's Mableton, isn't it?
I think it's Mableton.
Yeah,
but it's like right there on the line.
It's off of 85, right?
No, 85 is Gwinnett.
No.
It's off at 20.
20, I'm sorry. Y'all.
Celine doesn't direction well.
No, I ended up in Tennessee one time.
Yeah,
So,
maps are not her thing.
No, I'm not a driver.
All right, so 10 most haunted in Cobb County.
Yes.
Start us off with number 10.
Storytelling edition. So, by sunrise, it's laughter and coasters, but every park has its backstage stories. Old timers whisper about Joe, a performer who never made it to call time, yet still takes his seat at the Crystal Pistol. Do you remember this one? Crystal Pistol?
I don't remember this
I
one.
do.
No.
It was in the western area.
Yeah.
On still nights, cast members feel a cool draft across the balcony just before the music cues, like a nod to hit your mark. And in the vast parking lots, a little blonde girl sometimes asks for help, only to be gone when you glance back. Whether you chalk it up to fog machines or memories with long legs, Six Flags wears October like a mask, part spectacle and part seance.
That little girl would creep me out.
Yeah, but, this could be my child, too. Popping in to say hello to somebody and then just disappearing on them.
That would be my kid.
Yeah, this would be my kid, too. So, Joe is a little bit different story, though, at the Crystal Pistol. They do have a western area. It's very small, though. Next is going to be the Concord Covered Bridge.
Yeah, so built in the 1870s, the bridge creaks over Nickajack Creek like a wooden rib cage. Local teens called it Crybaby Bridge decades before the nickname went online. They swear that if you sit quietly, a child's sob rides the water. Up the hill, the cemetery earns its witch reputation, less from facts than from the way the mist collects around the stones and by the way the air turns cool without a breeze. The real history is ordinary. Families at rest, a bridge that once carried farm wagons, but ordinary places often inherit extraordinary stories, and these have clung like moss to timber. At the Concord Covered Bridge and Concord Baptist Cemetery, also known as the Witch's Graveyard. That's in Smyrna.
Though, I've never heard this either. So, Concord Covered Bridge is infamous for one thing in my mind. One.
Yeah.
Do you know what that one is?
Yeah, it's being in the news every time a car
right.
or a truck hits the low ceiling marker.
It's always getting so I'm pretty sure that this I've never heard it called Crybaby Bridge either. Even though we went to high school in this area.
Me neither, but I did hear it called the Witch's Graveyard.
Really?
Yep.
So, okay, this isn't complete BS.
No, I mean, the Witch's Graveyard, there were... God, it's so long ago, but I think there were, kids that would like go and try and do like dare, like go hang out in the witch's graveyard.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, I mean that was the kind of place that you did that, and we did that as kids.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the next is going to be the Glover House. So, have you seen Glover House?
Yeah, I have.
It's pretty, isn't it?
It is a pretty house.
So, Glover Park is named after John Glover. He's Marietta's first mayor. And it's an 1851 home near the social heart of the city. The later owners found that the house had a social life of its own. Guides tell of a former resident, Mr. Blair, who seemed reluctant to move on. Silhouettes appear in doorways, a shadow cuts across walls, and a porch chandelier sways gently, as if stirred by conversation. When Blair's belongings finally left the attic, the house quieted, but not completely.
Ooh.
On certain evenings, the foyer still feels manned, as if someone polite is minding the door and noting your arrival in a ledger you cannot see.
Those vibes are just really weird, right? When you go into a house and you're like, something's here.
But I really like 1850s architecture.
Oh, it's so cool.
Love it. So, I don't know. I think I could just say hello and then continue living in there because I like it.
Something like that I probably could too, as long as if it's like that feeling of being greeted, yeah. As long as it's not like, you can have that feeling like something wants to harm you, right? So
well, right, but
yeah.
I've never gotten that from any Marietta.
No, me neither.
Pocket doors are awesome too.
Yeah, so continuing on, Marietta City Cemetery and the Confederate Cemetery. So established in the 1830s and expanded through war and peace, these grounds read like a family chronicle in marble. The first famous ghost tale dates to 1895, when the sexton reported a man in black who vanished as he approached. Visitors today speak of unexpected voices, faces that appear in photos, and a lady in black, Lucy, who visited her sister's grave for 45 years and, some say, never really stopped. Walk here by daylight and you'll feel the tug of history. Come at dusk and the same headstones seem to lean closer, as if to finish a sentence time cut short.
This was one of the stops on the Marietta Ghost Tour.
Yeah.
And how this trolley fit through this beautiful stone arch with just inches to spare, I have no clue.
Skilled drivers.
But it made it through. And we all got off of the trolley, and I have heard about this lady in black because we stood right in front of her where she would visit.
Yeah.
And I stared at what she supposedly stared at, and I don't know, I guess I said hi to her sister too. But yeah, it's really not. So we have, I think, two cemeteries, the National Cemetery, but then we have the Confederate and the Union Cemetery. So you have to make sure that you know which one's what, because I think that the Union Cemetery gets very mixed up with the Confederate Cemetery a lot. Just a distinct reminder there. So number 6. Yeah. St. James Episcopal Cemetery. I do know how to say this. Mary Meinert. Now, St. James has another famous person who's buried there. This is not that person. As many of you know, John Benet Ramsey and her mother Patsy are buried at the same cemetery. But this one is about Mary Meinert. And it's right across from the middle school. So, these middle schoolers are looking across the street going, oh, making up stories, right? Because I would. A woman of stone holds 2 infants, and that's the monument, right? So that's what they can see. And the story is misted by rumor. Some say fire, some illness, some heartbreak. But the legend stays crisp. Circle her on a fateful night and ask what happened to her babies. Tears will bead on the bodice of her dress. Battery lights have died here without warning. Footsteps have trickled over pathways when no one's around. The grounds are gated and should be left in place. But even from the fence line, you will feel why generations turned a memorial into a folk tale about grief finding its voice. I have heard of this one before.
Very cool. I have not. This is new to me, so I love learning this stuff.
How tormenting, though. Like, seriously, leave this lady alone.
Right?
She just wants to hold her babies, and why are you circling around her and tormenting her?
Gosh.
Psh, move on.
Well, in 1864, thousands fought and fell at the Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield Park.
My family was there.
Including you have a surviving ancestor from the Illinois Regiment.
Who knew until like 2 weeks ago?
Right?
They were there.
Well, thousands fought and fell. The ridge keeps count without saying a word. Hikers at dusk describe volleys that never reach the ear yet seem to pass through the chest. Ooh. Neighbors swear unseen cannons jar them awake. Read the wayside markers and you begin to understand why the mind fills quietly with echoes. Commands barked into empty air, powder you think you smell because you learned what happened where you stand. The mountain doesn't perform, it remembers. Sometimes remembering is the eeriest sound of all. And they still find active shells here on Kennesaw Mountain. They found 2 of them in January. There were unexploded ordnances from the Civil War.
And you can smell it.
And the bomb squad, you can smell the actual, black powder. And they had to call the bomb squad out to dispose of the ordnances and explode them.
So you will get arrested if you have a metal detector.
Yeah,
don't try it.
Don't do it.
It's really for your safety because there are cannonballs out there.
Live unexploded rounds. Stick to the trails, please.
Yeah, I understand that 1600 seems so far away, but it really isn't for bombs. So be careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, my ancestor.
Very cool.
They survived. But there's a monument up at Cheatham Hill for the Illinois infantry, I believe. Mm-hmm. All right. So Magnolia House. This is in Powder Springs. It is a 1890 home. I like older, but 1890 is still okay. It's a chandelier of a venue, garden photos, satin trains, toast beneath the magnolias, and yet now and then couples flipping through proofs find 2 children standing not menacingly but politely at the edge of a frame. It's gonna be a boy and a girl. Curious but never cruel. No one agrees who they were. Everyone does say that they're gentle. The old house seems to draw them like a waltz you can't quite hear. Just enough melody for a few extra guests to linger in the background as if they wanted one more dance.
Can you imagine flipping through your wedding photos and just seeing, 2 random kids that weren't there?
That aren't ours?
Just that weren't even in, they just show up in the photo. That would be pretty creepy.
Well, I mean, if they're wearing modern clothes, then somebody just lost their kids.
Yeah, probably me.
Yeah. If they're wearing 1800s, I would be a little bit concerned because they don't really sell those clothes anymore unless you make them. So.
Yep.
Yeah, where'd you get them, right?
Bronner Hall in Smyrna is a handsome black and white trim hiding an older identity. For most of the 20th century, this was a private psychiatric hospital founded by Dr. James Bronner. The clinical wards are now gone. City offices and events live here now, and yet staff have told of late-night clatter in quiet rooms, of a shadow in the basement corner who watches with the stillness of someone taking notes. If the building has a temperament, it's protective, like a place that absorbed hard stories and now prefers laughter, lights, and the calm hum of a catered reception.
Oh, I I've never heard of Bronner Hall before in Smyrna, on the Taylor Bronner campus, but this is what scares me the most.
Psychiatric places?
Psychological scary stories.
Oh, yeah.
Because, yeah, you can have a gross, bloody, image somewhere that pops out at you, but that's more of like scaring you, right? Like physically, like, bah.
Yeah, there's a physical threat versus like the unknown of losing your mind.
Right,
Yeah.
right. The mental stuff is just like, okay, how do you prevent that, right? It's, ooh.
Yeah,
okay.
like being trapped in an infinite loop or like... Yeah, no, that's...
Ooh, no. Mm-mm. So, I'm going to talk about the old mill, but we're not talking about the one in Roswell.
No.
We're talking about the one in Ackworth.
Because this is Cobb County spooky places. Yeah.
So, we have the Chattahoochee, but we have a lot of rivers as well, or creeks, or, bodies of water that flow that were conducive to mills. So we have a lot of them. Like there's a famous paper mill road, right?
Used to be a paper mill.
Right.
It's not very complicated.
You have Sewell Mill. What are some others? Barnes Mill.
Yeah, and there would be a mill on the river with a water wheel, and that's where they would mill the grains, like old technology.
So this one's proper name is Cowan Historic Mill, but they call it the Old Mill because, creative.
Yeah.
It was built in 1874 by John Cowan. It is on... this was right after a post-gold rush feeling of optimism. And the mill, because we had a gold rush here, remember? In Dahlonega.
We did.
Before California. The mill made flour, and then it switched to textiles, and then restaurants moved in after that because, well, we didn't need mills as much. Fire then scarred it in the 90s. Then it was renovated and brought to new life in a chorus of tales. A local tour host speaks of 7 spirits. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Cowan himself... Elizabeth, a school teacher, said to have ended her life after love went wrong for her. She's still marking glasses with her phantom lipstick. Good to know that there's lipstick in the afterlife.
Yeah, I guess so. You got something to look forward to.
I know. Chiefs complained.
Chefs.
Oh, yeah, chefs. I don't have my glasses on. Chefs complained. Chiefs complained. Chefs complained of doors slamming and lights that would not obey. Guests swore clean goblets blushed red again. Today it's an event space, candlelight and vows, perhaps exactly the remedy the past wanted. Seems like a really dirty... Where are the other 7 spirits? There's Cowan.
Yeah, I
want
to know about the others.
Where
This
are the
is
other
all that I could
5?
find online about this.
And why is Elizabeth putting red lipstick on everything?
I don't know. And the whole slamming doors, I don't get it.
Rude.
Yep.
Next.
And then our number one most haunted spot in Cobb County is the Marietta History Center, also known as the Kennesaw House.
Oh, this place creeps me out.
So, erected in the mid-19th century as a hotel. This is steps from the train tracks. The Kennesaw House became a hospital and a morgue during the Civil War, sheltering and losing men in equal measure. The building survived when so much of Marietta burned, and with the survival came stories. Visitors and staff recounted an elevator that sometimes opens on a room that isn't there anymore, with cots pressed closed, ether in the air, and a surgeon bending to his work under a wash of lamplight. Others see a doctor in a cream coat or a soldier whose uniform could stretch without ever having studied one. Or whose uniform you could sketch, without ever having studied one. By day, it is one of our best museums, and after hours, even skeptics admit that the house seems to remember back.
Yeah. So
it's a creepy place.
It really is. So it's not just by the train tracks. So Marietta was a train stop.
Yeah, it was the depot. It was...
Right. So right in front of the train tracks is going to be the old train station, which is going to be the Marietta Welcome Center, right? And it's... I mean, it's not the History Center, but it's a Welcome Center. So right next to the Welcome Center is the hotel. And I think it was called the Kennesaw House back then.
Yeah.
But during the Civil War, they didn't have that many buildings, right? So they had to take over buildings.
Oh, repurposed.
I do know that there's one beautiful one down the street. I think it's off of Church Street, but, you know.
Some of the old homes there, too,
Right.
were also used.
Right. So this one with beautiful columns was a location for Union soldiers or Union officers when they took over Kennesaw and Marietta. Or occupied, I should say. But they also had a lot of wounded soldiers, right? And where do you put them when Kennestone, our local hospital right up the street, didn't exist? That's a recent, say, 1900s recent build. So they had to take over the Kennesaw House, which was appropriate because it had a lot of rooms, right, for individuals. It makes sense.
It does.
However, it was not 3 stories. It was 4. You knew that, right?
What?
Yeah. So
no, I didn't know that.
This building was actually 4. There is a missing floor, and that's because it was burned. They never rebuilt that top floor.
They just put a roof on?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, it's shorter than what it used to be. It used to be bigger. So a lot of the times, this is the place where historic artifacts are stored, right? Because there is a little bit of a museum there.
Yeah.
And a lot of the meaningful things for our city of Marietta are kept there for the public to view as well and to learn about the past. It seems as though those items have maybe brought in, a tie to the past.
Maybe some of the spirits are attached to some of the things in the museum.
Yeah, because some of the stories that I've heard are people seeing Civil War clad apparitions there.
Oh, wow.
Just kind of like walking around or just there when they open the elevator doors. So this, of all the places, I have had the creepies at 2 places. One is the Root House.
Yep.
Yes, it's a great place. Please go visit them. Please, patronize them because they do great work. I did get tickets because I wanted to see for myself. I took my youngest for some reason. She's trailing after me, but, with little kids, they get really scared.
Yeah.
So she got the heebie-jeebies, and we didn't want to go upstairs, especially because we were the only ones there. Nobody else was there. It's no electricity, right? It's dark, and it's like walking into somebody else's house. Right? You're like, should I be? You've already got that feeling like I shouldn't be here in somebody else's house because this is their area. But we didn't make it upstairs. We made it downstairs, and we made it outside because they have an outside kitchen, I believe. It was not connected. And just remembering the facts that, they used to have like home funerals.
Yeah.
And they would have like wakes there and they would like bring in the body, and then that kind of creeped me out because I had that idea while I was standing there in the back room. So we noped out of there to the gift store. Great gift store. Go and see the gift store. You don't have to go see the house. You can see the gift store too. The other one is going to be the Kennesaw House.
Yeah, you got the creepy vibes there.
I won't even go in.
Really? Mm-mm. I kind of want to go now.
No, I'm not going upstairs. I'm not looking at the stuff. I just don't want to. And if you're braver than me, please.
Well, I learned something new while doing this research and figuring this out. You remember Hemingway's lived on the square for years and years and years. Closed down a few years ago. Became the Red Hare. Still on the square.
Okay, there have been a lot of changes on that side of the square.
Yeah. Well,
so go back maybe pre-pandemic. We're talking about Brumby Chair Company still there. We had the jeweler on the corner. We had La Familia, right? The Italian restaurant. We had a few, like something doodle.
I mean, businesses are always changing.
Yeah, always.
But what I learned about this building in particular,
which is right in between all those that I said.
Yeah, is it used to be the city morgue for Marietta. So if we went to Hemingway's just once, I think, and they didn't have any vegetables. It was like, you asked for a vegetable, we have fried potatoes. So it wasn't a place that we frequented a lot, but now that I know that was a morgue, I don't know that I'll ever go back. I don't know. It's something about eating where bodies were like kept, and I don't know. That's always been a thing for me. That's actually why I haven't been to what's that place in Roswell?
I heard it's really good.
I heard it's really good. The Mill, yeah.
Yes.
I've heard that the food is really good too. I just can't bring myself to actually go there because I remember driving by when it was a funeral home, and now if you drive by and you see like smoke coming out of the fireplace or something because they're cooking, I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't. Nope, not at all.
No.
So we want to know from you, like, what is your Cobb County ghost moment? If you want to send us a voice note, we'll play it on air. You want to send us a message or some pictures from Fright Fest, or Chalktoberfest. Send us some of your favorite ghost moments, and we're going to share it with the show.
Do you have a ghost moment? No?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. It's real estate related. You were with me. So we were in the recession. We're touring, and there's all these like dilapidated homes and homes that were like abused. And when you go into a home, like you can feel the vibe, right? Like if it's a warm and loving home, like you can feel that. Mm-hmm. If it's neutral, you can feel that, and that's fine too. But every once in a while, you go into a house and you get this like weird serial killer, like Dexter vibe, right? And there was one house that we went and toured. It was in Woodstock, and I would go down into the basement, and the basement is like pretty open, but there's like one room straight in front of the landing for the stairs. And it's like a bonus room. There's no windows, large closet. I go and I just shine a flashlight because there's no power on. And there's like some weird stains on the floor. And it's just got this, the moment you come downstairs, the vibe changes. It's got this like skin cooling, like creepy vibe that you just feel like you walked into like this
something's wrong,
cold, dead area, right? Like all of the good energy has been sucked out of that area. Mm-hmm. And it was too much for me. I said, I'm gonna hang out here. Like, y'all are good. And
but you didn't see anything, right?
No, I didn't see anything there. But you felt the presence of something there. Like there was something there that didn't belong. And that's happened a couple of times, but
I've never seen an apparition or anything.
I've seen shadows. Remember in North Carolina? We had a rental in North Carolina. And when we moved into that rental, there was like, it was 2-bedroom. There was a bedroom with a loft outside of it upstairs. And then there was our bedroom downstairs. And when we got there, we would see this shadow just moving around in the upstairs bedroom.
I feel like I've tried to block this out of my memory.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I never went upstairs.
You didn't, but
ever.
I got some holy water and sprinkled it and kind of like did our little version of sage, and then it went away. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. but that was a weird one. Because that home wasn't like old enough to like, I think, have somebody die in it. It was only like a 5-year-old home when we moved in.
I don't think the age matters.
I think it was the mountain. I think it was the mountain we were on, maybe.
The mountain.
Yeah. So
which is a great time to talk about what comes out of our mountains in Georgia. With the granite.
Oh yeah. Well, so I think talking about some haunted homes, there's some really scary stuff that can happen with homes as well.
They are, and this is why a lot of people don't know about this test, but I think that they should know about radon.
Yes. Yeah. So, if granite emits a colorless, odorless gas. It's called radon. It's actually the second leading cause of lung cancer in the United States. And it comes out of granite. Now, if you don't know, Stone Mountain is a giant slab of granite, and those veins underground run from Georgia all through North Georgia into Tennessee. So it's a lot of granite underground. And when you're buying a home, you could do a radon test to know what the concentration levels are in the home.
Just because your next door neighbor has a clear test does not mean that you have the same amount of granite under yours.
Because you don't know what the composition is underground and where it's coming out. Mm-hmm. But the good news is, if your house does have radon, it's a relatively inexpensive fix. They drill a hole in your foundation to allow the gas to come out through that one concentrated area, and they vent it through the roof so it goes around the house. It's a very simple fix. As far as remediation goes, it's one of the least expensive remediations that you can do. It's so much better than having mold in the house, but it's still something that you can test for during the inspection.
We're also not the only place in America that has this,
No, I mean, this is nationwide.
Problem, but it's just a challenge.
It comes out everywhere.
When you're buying land, you can't, decide, hey, I want this much granite in it and this much not. It's what you get is what you get.
Yeah.
It's covered by dirt. You sometimes can't tell.
This is why you get a test.
Yeah.
But while we're talking about real estate, and we're on this theme of Halloween and spooky stuff, I've got the top 5 scariest home repairs and how to prevent them from happening. So let's talk about that before we wrap up our show for the day. And the very first one, absolute scariest in my book, is going to be your frozen pipes. This is the biggest nightmare, right? You go out of town, and
they're probably thinking, though, that it doesn't get this cold in Georgia.
It can.
It can.
Oh, it can. So this is why it's so spooky, because, oftentimes when this happens, you're traveling, right? You're not there using the water, keeping it running. You're out of town. You come back, and your whole house has been flooded. You have pipes burst, water leaking from ceilings, basements full of water. This can be really, really detrimental. It can destroy tons of stuff, because if you're traveling, who knows when it ruptures and how long it's leaking for before your neighbors call you saying, hey, you've got water leaking out of your garage. We've dealt with that before as property managers. So the way to avoid this, very, very easy. So if you have any exposed runs of plumbing in cold areas, insulate them. Get the little styrofoam insulation, put some tape over it, add heat tape where appropriate. You're going to drip your faucets when temperatures are below freezing. Let any faucet that's on an exterior wall. So if you have a bathroom on an exterior wall, you want to drip that faucet. Open the cabinet doors underneath the faucet to allow that heat from the house to touch those exposed pipes. You want to keep your home heat above 55 degrees. If you have any hoses, you want to disconnect them and make sure that the faucets, the exterior hose bibs, are off. Fun fact, if you have water in your hose and it freezes, you will rupture that hose. So you want to also disconnect that. No where your water main is. So in the event that something does happen, you want to know where your water main is located, have that valve marked, and be able to get to it. Make sure it's accessible. So if you have to get to it in a hurry, you know where it is. You don't have boxes or things blocking your access to it. All right. I think that's probably the scariest. Salim, what else do we have on this list of top 5 scariest home repairs?
I mean, that, as far as, capacity, I mean, sure, frozen pipes, but I also don't like pinhole leaks. The copper piping. So we have an older home. It's 1970s build. It's 1978, I believe. And a lot of East Cobb is in that era because that's when Atlanta started spreading out. And during that time, this was really the frontier, I want to say, if that's even a word.
The Wild West of Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the edge, right? Where they were building, cheaper land, and then you can get more, etc. You get the idea.
Oh, yeah.
The construction at the time used copper piping for water.
And generally a great product.
Yeah, except sometimes when you use a product, you only find out things maybe 30 years later, or 40 years later.
Everything has a service life.
True. I mean,
right?
Yeah, unless you're in a bog. I mean, but still. I hate these leaks because these are the ones where you look up on the ceiling and you're like, what is that? What is this little, donut-sized stain? Where is that coming from? Or it could be larger or whatever it is, right? Or there's a puddle of water on the floor. Where did that come from? I don't know. Pinhole leaks. They're
tiny.
Tiny, and it's so hard to find them, and that's what makes them so scary.
What also makes it scary is that once you start getting them, you're going to get more. So copper, there's 2 different thicknesses of copper.
Yes.
Okay, and in the South, because we're a warmer climate, they typically use the thinner copper, and that has a service life of 30 to 50 years. Long service life. However, when it starts to fail, you get these little pinhole leaks. It's more common on a horizontal run than it is a vertical run of your plumbing, but when you get them, this little pinhole will develop and it's going to shoot water out, and that water is going to come out and actually shoot pretty far. So finding that pinhole leak is one of the first challenges.
Right. We had one 2 feet away at one point.
Yep. And it was shooting onto our ductwork.
Right.
And then it was following the ductwork, and it was coming down 2 or 3 feet away from where that actual leak was. And then on another one, we had it that it was inside the wall, and it was shooting and hitting a stud inside the wall, and that stud was dripping down to the floor, but it was like we were seeing it 5 or 6 feet away from where that leak was. So it can be very hard to find them, and the terrifying thing about it is there's nothing you can do to prevent it. If you have copper and it's 30, 40, 50 years old, you can start preparing to replumb your house. And there are different products out there. You can go PEX, which is the common product that they're using in new construction today, or you can replumb with copper. Copper, is going to give you another 40 to 50 years, 30 to 50 years in the house without any problems. Longer if you upgrade to go to the thicker product.
I really don't think that copper is going to be a cost-effective product nowadays, though, because
no, but it's still one of the best products.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. But I mean, unless you have extra money to be spending on that, I guess it's a personal choice.
It could be another $1,000 or $2,000 over doing PEX, but that peace of mind knowing that you have copper and welded joints and all that is going to be worth it for a lot of people.
Well, so my peace of mind really comes with water heaters.
Yes.
Working.
Those can be scary.
When it gets cold in Georgia, it can get cold. Not Alaska cold, but it gets cold. And after you have that bike ride or whatever it is, you want to come home and you're like, I'm gross. I want to get in the shower. The last thing you want is to be gross. And then your water heater's not working. So you have a cold shower and you have no other choice. Why is it spooky? Well, if you have a failure, you can have 40 to 50 gallons on your floor.
Depending on how it fails, yeah.
It could be really quick too. So to prevent this, do an annual flush, check, replace the anode rod, ensure drain pan with plumb drain is there, expansion tank when on a PRV, pressure relieving valve.
Yep.
Consider proactive replacement near end of life of the water heater itself, so don't wait until it just dies. And then tankless units need descaling. Now, this is a lot of information. I think that when I was younger, I know this sounds so basic, I didn't know what a water heater was. Well, I knew what it was, but I didn't understand that there were different kinds. I didn't understand that because I'm young, right?
Well, there weren't different kinds when you were young. They only had one type, which was the tank.
Right, but at that point, I didn't know what an anode rod was.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know what a drain pan was for because I've never had to do anything with a house, right? Especially not having one of my own. So could you explain what the heck an annual flush is for people and what an anode rod is?
Happy to. So if you have a tank water heater, right, the heating element is at the bottom of the tank. And
like a cauldron.
Yeah. And new water, fresh water, comes in at the top of the tank. And so the hot water in the tank is going to be at the bottom by the heating element, and you have these rods that come from all the way down to the bottom of the tank to pull that hot water. And what ends up happening, that's called an anode rod. There are two different types. You have a stainless steel, and then you have like a copper, I think. And in the lower end, they will rust out maybe 5 to 7 years. And then the stainless upgraded anode rods, those are going to usually come with like a 10-year warranty on the tank.
So it's circulating the hot water.
So when you turn the hot water on at the faucet, it's going and pulling from the bottom of that anode tube at the bottom of the water heater where the water is the hottest. And then it's filling cold water at the top. So as it pulls the hot water from the bottom, the other hot water is going to go down and it's going to replace with cold water at the top. So it's those dip rods are really what's getting that hot water. So if your anode rods rust out and it starts sucking the water from the top of the tank, you're only going to have like maybe a few minutes of warm water followed by cold. And it's not going to pull that hot water from the bottom of the tank. So that's why having those rods maintained is beneficial. Because it's a tank, if there's any sediment that comes in the water, that's going to fall to the bottom. And every hot water tank has a valve on it where you can hook up a hose. And to drain the tank, or basically to... what did this call it?
Flush? To
flush the tank, yeah. You're going to turn the water inlet off, and you're going to hook up a hot water rated hose to the tank, and you're going to take that hose and either take it to outside or to a sink, or to a bucket, and you're going to open up the valve, and you're going to get, that bottom layer of water out of the tank. And that's going to flush any sediment that may have built up on the bottom of that tank out with the water.
I feel like a lot of people don't do this.
No, nobody does. We did it, but we don't have a tank anymore.
No, we got rid of it. So that's the other option.
We still have the hose for it, but we don't have a tank. So
one of the best decisions we've ever made with 3 children.
Absolutely. Because we had when we moved in, we had like a 3-year-old water heater, and it failed at year 6. And it was like a pro level water heater, but it was a tank. And the dip rods, rusted out, and we were like having to deal with cold showers all the time. So
screaming little children.
Instead of replacing it with a tank, because we have kids that we'd rather not just have to limit them in the shower. We'd just everybody enjoy it. So
clean kids are better than rushed kids.
Yeah. So we switched over to the tankless, and we did the Rinnai commercial level tankless water heater, and that gives us basically on-demand heated water anytime we want it. It takes like a couple of seconds to make it from the heater to the faucet, and that's it.
I recommend tankless.
Yeah.
I really do.
But, I got to look into the descaling because this is our first tankless, and I've never descaled it, so I should probably look into what that maintenance looks like.
There you go.
Here we go.
There's also HVAC problems.
Well, fortunately, we're starting to get to the cool time of year, but earlier this summer when we were in the peak, the biggest nightmare is being stuck in a house that's 85, 90 degrees when you're trying to sleep, and it's miserable. Like, I can't stand that. So we had to replace, I think, 2 HVAC units this year for properties that we manage or own. And that is never fun. So
it's a big cost.
It's a huge cost, especially when it's on our commercial building. We've replaced 1 HVAC over the last year each year. So we've done 2 HVACs in 2 years. And we'll probably do another HVAC next year and another HVAC after that and have 4 new HVACs at the office.
How it goes sometimes.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
So the way to prevent this from being a nightmare is, one, you can go on a service program where twice a year an HVAC company is going to come out, they're going to vacuum the coils, they're going to maintain that system so that it's going to prolong the life of that unit. Okay? Make sure that you're changing your filters frequently. Make sure that you are so when you're using like smart thermostats, it's better to keep the unit at a constant temperature where it's working less to maintain it than it is to turn it off and let that temperature in the house rise to like 90, 95 degrees to then have it on to work hard to bring the temperature down from that like 90, 95 to like a 70, 75. It's going to be more taxing on the system to operate it like that than it is to just set it at 72 and just let it be there all year. So the way you use the system will maintain the longevity of it. When your air conditioning doesn't work,
could it be chipmunks?
Sometimes
eating the wires.
We've had rodents eat wires out at our unit that have caused shorts in our system. We've had blowers go bad, compressors go bad. Like this stuff just happens over time. Sometimes it's rodent inspired and sometimes it's mechanical failure. But this can be really scary if your HVAC or if your air conditioning goes bad in the summer, because homes today don't breathe air and let air in and out like they used to. Okay, the homes that were built in the 60s and the 50s and 40s were built without air conditioning in mind. It didn't exist.
They had windows open.
They had windows, and when you open the windows, you would get airflow. They would have whole house fans, which would get airflow without air conditioning, which means that if your AC goes bad and you're in an older home, open the windows, run fans. You're going to be okay. But if you're in a newer home, you can do the same thing, but these homes are not designed to breathe as much. So an air conditioning system acts as a dehumidifier. When it cools the air, it pulls moisture out of that air, which prevents mold and mildew from growing inside the home, which if it goes bad, you're going to have high moisture levels. So make sure you have like a spare dehumidifier, or you're opening those windows to allow airflow, because you don't want moisture levels rising above that like 40-50% mark.
Yeah, you might even have to put a dehumidifier in there with the sump pump.
You might have to.
So, never know.
And then furnaces going bad.
Oh, yeah. So furnace is not heating. Why is it spooky? Because you can die.
What?
You really can.
No.
It can leak carbon monoxide. So make sure you have a carbon monoxide detector, not
Absolutely.
a director.
Letting the Japanese out there a little bit.
And make sure you service it every fall. And check for the combustion as well, because carbon monoxide can kill. So that might be really the scariest of all, because I can deal with being, wet and hot, sweaty, but I can't deal with being dead.
It wouldn't be much to deal with.
No.
Though. You wouldn't.
No.
You wouldn't know you wouldn't know the difference. So some quick bullet points here is just, label your main for your water, your gas, and your electric. They make these little $20 leak alarms. You can put them in the drain pans for your water heater, for your HVAC system, so that if it detects any water, it's going to start chiming. For your HVAC, you can have cutoffs, so that if it leaks or condensation starts building up, if it detects any water, it'll shut the system off to avoid burning out your compressor, things of that nature. And then just make sure that you're maintaining systems. So having them checked annually or biannually for your HVAC, changing those furnaces quarterly, depending upon the filter rating. So there's a lot that you can do. Just document everything that you have, and that way if you do have frozen pipes and you need to complete an insurance claim, you have recent photos of all of your belongings so that you can remember exactly what it is you need to replace.
Some of our listeners might be going, damn it, Chris, why are you giving me such a long to-do list? Yeah. Because these are all things that I haven't thought about, and now you put it in my brain, and now I have to go do it.
Well, you don't have to do all of it, but you do need to just understand where some of the nightmares are, because...
Well, I think you do need to have a carbon monoxide detector.
I would highly encourage that, yeah.
Yeah, don't die.
No. Check your batteries for your smoke detector and your carbon monoxide detector every year at least. I do it every time the daylight savings. So whenever daylight savings happens, we're going through and testing all the batteries. We're going through the house and reversing the fans. We're doing the maintenance, changing the filters, all that stuff. Now I'm going to have to look up how to descale a tankless water heater and add that to the list.
Well, that about wraps it up. Do be safe out there, though, because I know that we've talked about, these interesting places, but there are sometimes they're private property. Sometimes there's cemeteries that are private as well. So be respectful. Make sure that you do look at their cemetery hours if they are open, and opt to go on official tours and museum nights instead of just wandering out there, or else you might become a legend as well at some point. Next week, tune in and subscribe so that you don't miss our podcast, and give us a review. Only 5 stars, please.
Yeah, you can find the show anywhere you get your podcasts, or you can follow us on YouTube if you want to see what we're doing in studio while we're recording this. And subscribe, ring the bell on YouTube. And if you're on your podcast platform, please leave us a review. Don't forget to send us your spooky Cobb County stories or photos of doing great Halloween activity. We'll share that on the website along with the show notes. So you can catch us at selectrealty.com, 2 L's in select, and we will see you back here next week.